Okay folks, just a quick update. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday night, Monday morning. Since the last update we've had a couple of spells of showers, nothing much. It's been a fairly quiet evening and night so far. At 1 o'clock and it just started to rain 4 or 5 minutes ago. It's raining heavy enough to be dripping in a little bit consistently, just in a couple of spots. The usual places. A few drips on the bed and in that corner. I think we're all right. Nothing too much. It's been like I said, it's been a relatively quiet, trouble-free day. We got some charging done on the from the solar panel to the phone and the radio. I think that's it for today. It's been a pleasant enough day. I don't think this is going to be too troubling. The forecast for tomorrow keeps changing. It looks now like it's going to be raining on and off until noon. Maybe a bit after. But it doesn't look like it's anything too heavy. We'll see. But for now, that's Delta Mike out. Good morning folks, down and out with Delta Mike in Torrevieja and Tina of course. It's 9:15 on Monday the 29th of May. We've just had a fairly tranquil night really. There was predictions of thunderstorms for 5 o'clock in the morning, but I don't think anything really happened. And then a total reversal of yesterday's forecast to today. The forecast was for rain and thunderstorms most of the morning. Now the forecast is for nice weather all morning until noon, or I think maybe 2 o'clock, something like that, and then thunderstorms and rain on and off until midnight. The forecast is then for rain tomorrow, and then I think it's currently saying 3 days of good weather. So the initial kind of 10 days of thunder and lightning that were the, I guess, the catalyst for me starting these recordings, given the state of my shelter. 10 days of thunder and lightning seemed like something I couldn't survive. We've now got this afternoon and tomorrow with a bit of rain, and then it looks like we should be golden. So there's a turn up for the books. Looks like we've survived, or it says tempting fate. I mean, the shelter still looks like it could fall over any minute. Well, not so much fall over, but rip in half. I mean, there are from inside. It's quite alarming, the number of new holes that are appearing in the roof. And the amount of time that I've spent patching holes to then find just new holes appearing just basically every time the bloody wind blows. It's quite alarming. I mean, this isn't going to survive much longer. We only really got through the last 3 days because we've got a lightweight tarpaulin literally over the bed, so any water incursion that does occur, we can at least mitigate some of that and get the water away. Tina girl, hey, leave the man alone, leave the nice man alone. Shush, shush. So the phone's overnight. The phone gets down below 20%. So I've got the solar panel out, and I'm gonna put the Gonna put the phone on charge and try and see if I can get above, I don't know, 50–60% before the rain sets in, and then I've got to try and eke that power out through the rest of today and potentially all day tomorrow, for looking at the forecast, before the good weather rolls in. So let's see how the day goes. I'm going to take herself here for a morning walkies. I'll maybe take the phone and give you a little view of the surrounding area. I'll give you a view of where we're at. Oh, come on, now, sweetheart. So just a quick follow-up. Here's a little. I mean, this isn't really a path. I'll just turn around and show you. See what looks like a path coming down through the centre of the camp is basically it's a dry riverbed. When it rains, it's not really a riverbed, but when it rains, this is the path that the water comes down through this field. I'll do a grill, because at the top there they did some earthworks to divert water away in December, and we'll take a look at what's good about that and what's bad. It should, if they've done it right, it should mean this field never floods anymore. But let's just look at where it goes out of the camp. Now you see this log and the water bottle and these jars. Well, these have washed down here. We're in the rain earlier this week. Was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when it was at its worst. These things have basically, there's been a, if not a river and if not a flood, at least a stream has pushed through down this path and washed away whatever I've had laying around. That I don't know. That's still quite alarming to me, given the extent of the earthworks that they did at the top of the road. But we'll have a look at that in a separate video that I'll do, I don't know, one day this week. But this is us. This is where we are. This is how close to the sea we are. She's just down the bottom of the road there. We'll just walk herself. Hey baby girl. Say hello to the nice people. Yeah, say hello. Come on. It's not a bad morning, 9 o'clock. I'm in shorts and t-shirt. It's Spain. It's never really cold, is it? With the exception of about 1 week in, I'm not sure if it was late January or early February, we got down to 4 degrees for 3 or 4 days of 1 week. At that point, that's when we reinvented the hot water bottle. Basically a 2-litre pop bottle filled with boiling water. A little bit of cold in the bottom to stop the bottle melting. But fill 2-litre pop bottles with hot water, put them in the bed an hour before you get in, and basically lie there too hot all night, even though it's 4 degrees all around you. Oh wow, I don't know if you got that on the camera. There's a rabbit. There's a rabbit or hare. I think rabbit, but what do I know? I've seen them before, but I kind of convinced myself that I was mistaken. But no, that was definite. I'll check back on the video there later and see whether I caught it. I definitely saw it. Tina saw it, but I don't know whether we got it on camera. But this is the morning. This is the morning walkies where Her Ladyship does her ablutions. Lovely view. I don't know, my screen here is really dull. It doesn't. I can't see what I'm looking at on the phone, but hopefully you guys can. Hopefully you can see that. It's a lovely spot and quite secluded. Most people don't know that this little bit of cliff top and cove is here. So you don't get many people coming here. Can you see the person out on the paddle board? Nine o'clock in the morning this time of year. I would imagine that sea's still quite cold. You'd have to be quite confident that you weren't going to end up in the water. Quite a few clouds around, but they're nothing heavy, and there's breaks in the cloud. And as you can see over there, the sun is shining through out at sea, and that usually comes this way. We'll end up with some nice weather this morning, I hope. That's the forecast anyway. And there's a doggy. Hey babe. Should I try and do a full panorama? Here we are looking back towards the camp, and I'll spin it around slowly. Some houses nearby here, right on the edge of the cliffs. It's probably only got 20 or 30 years before they fall in. We come around. Now we're facing the morning sun. That's your east. We got a building here that was totally ransacked or vandalised previously. They've been working on it. Small team working on it on and off over a long period. They're not in any big rush. Some more dwellings, and we're back around where we started. So this is the area. Hopefully you saw the rabbit, and it's kind of where we are. Okay folks, that's it for now. I'll definitely do an update later. I think if the weather is as nice as it says it's going to be, I'm going to try and put that tent up. Hopefully the guys who brought it are maybe going to pop down. They said they might come down yesterday, but the weather didn't seem stable enough early enough at the time that they said that they were free. Maybe they'll come today. If not, I'll have a go myself. Hopefully, I think if I put up a second structure, if I have two things at once, I think I might get some unwanted attention from the authorities. So I'm keen to get the one tent up and take the old shelter down and do a swapperoo as quick as, so that I don't have the Guardia Civil and the Policia Local kind of breathing down my bloody neck. We'll see how that goes. Okay folks, bye for now. Okay folks, it's only 5 or 10 minutes after the last clip. I said I was going to do a video one day on the earthworks that had been done around here. So there's the camp from a different angle. You can see the sea over the top. So we're up at the top of the field on the main road. Here they did some earthworks back in December. They built this big cutaway, this big basically trench at the top of the field. Basically what we've got is we're at the bottom of two hills. If we look, big hill up there up to Torre del Moro and Hotel Massa, straight up the road. So the water comes swooshing right down this hill, And also ahead there, you can't see because there's a building in the way, but that's another big hill. That's another big hill that brings water down this way. And it hits this corner, and it all used to come into the field here, and where the road, where the junction with the track, where the road is there. So you did this big earthwork, this big cutaway. And if you look at if you imagine the cross section of this, the size of that bank, that's above knee high, really almost halfway to waist high. And again this side, so you look at the volume, you think of the volume of water that could travel along this cutaway and be diverted away. And it comes along, and instead of the ground sloping kind of downwards to carry the water away properly, the water is kind of expected now to come uphill a little bit. Then there's this bloody great step for the road itself, so the water doesn't go anywhere there. So the water comes here, and look how shallow. We're looking now directly along the V shape of the cutaway as it crosses the road. There's virtually no depth to the cutaway. So the water spills out and goes down the road instead of following and along into the cutaway and draining out to sea. Okay folks, so the water comes along that channel with the big kind of cross section. Then it comes across this road with hardly any cross section. And the idea is that it follows this cutaway down to a natural kind of crevasse, a natural a small gorge that then takes it off to the left, down the drop. Can't really see. I'm not going to go any closer, I don't want to fall in or anything. But it goes down there and then off, following a cut off to the sea. That's the idea. What actually happens is only half the water makes it down here for the reasons stated, because the cut in the road isn't, the channel through the road is only a small fraction of what the drainage channel further along could carry. So the water comes here, pools here, is met by runoff from the road, and there's an equal amount of water still coming down the hill and down the road that didn't make it into this channel. So it meets here, coalesces, backs up because not enough of it gets to follow down through this channel. So then it backs up and spills back down this track where it used to come originally, and spills back into the, I'm going to call it a field, it isn't so much a field, but into this scrubland or bush where we are camped. Tina, stop it. So the water gathers and pools and swamps back down here, and it's because of the people in the houses at the end that they did this earthworks in the first place, to basically stop this road washing away. But it pools, it gathers, and then it spills down here. See the drop? Hopefully you can see. I can't see what I'm looking at on the camera because the screen's just not bright enough. But it spills down here, and at this point here, you can see that this track, this is kind of the original riverbed, I guess you'd call it, where the flood water, the runoff would come from down that hill and the beginning of that trench. So here, plus the water coming here, runs down and through and towards my camp. Now, you know, in fairness, it flooded the first day I arrived here when I was totally unaware what was going on. That would be October the 10th last year. And 1 month later, November the 10th, or the night of the 10th into the morning of the 11th, it really flooded. The first flood was ankle deep, but the one in November was knee deep. This whole area. I'd pitched I'd got my first tarp then, a 3 metre by 2 metre. I had a line strung across some trees over there, and I was quite happy that we were dry. Me, the dog, and all of my belongings at the time under this tarp that was stretched out. But then, whoosh! Just a wave came and hit us. I had like my bag, a big heavy bag, was carried like 10 meters away, and it just hit, just bang, swamped. And that was the death of any and all electronics that I had. Most things are already on the way out after the first flood in the October. We got hit. My phone at the time had got a swollen battery and had the force of the battery swelling had cracked the side of the phone open, and so the first flood water got into the phone, and the screen was fading and becoming basically for a month I'd only use the phone at night. So what I used to do was set a long playlist of music or audio tracks or previously downloaded videos. I'd set a playlist, and before daybreak I'd set that going, and then I'd have no control of it all day long. And I could only do anything, make edits, only see the screen and know what I was doing at night. All my electronics were kind of on the fritz after that first flood, but the second one, that really was a kick in the teeth. Everything broke. I had nothing. The solar panel still worked, and I had one of my 3 power banks working. The smaller one had some use still, and I had a string of a string of LED lights and one like LED powered kind of light bulb, big, overly bright. I mean, too much really for any. When you're in the field and trying to maintain a low visibility, try not to be seen too much by people. That light was for just occasional emergency use only. It was just too fuck off bright. But this is the area we're in. No floods since they've done this earthworks. As I said, we'd had some kind of stream run through here the other day and carry this log. I got a box here with dog food in. The box was carried about a foot. That's 30 centimeters for you in metric. Carried about 30 centimeters down, and you can see the log, the bottle, everything else that I showed. So that's this area. That's where we're at. For better or for worse, I can't think anywhere else to go, anywhere better to go. So this is home, and that's the earthworks. That's what's good about it and what's bad about it. I personally think they should have gone deeper in the road and gone over it with a kind of a cattle grid kind of thing. Should have had a proper deeper channel through the road, and had it covered with a metal grill. Let the water through and let the cars over. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm just some tramp. That's it for now, guys. You can see the sun's coming out and proper now, and I'm going to get this phone on charge. Bye for now. Okay, folks. Quick update. Change of plans slightly. We're going to go get water. I just realised I haven't got that much water on hand, and I thought it'd be interesting, useful maybe to detail where we get our water from and why it's not trusted or unsafe. So I got 2 8-litre water bottles empty in the bag here, and the top from a pop bottle, soda bottle, cut off as a funnel. That goes in the bag. Bag goes open on the shoulder. Don't worry, I'm not going to give a running commentary of the whole thing. and we'll make a move. Come here, bugs. Do you not untangle? Good girl. You're a good girl. Off you trot. What's this? Come on. Like I said, I'm not gonna walk you the whole way. We basically come out of this little flood, rainwater overflow, onto the track, up to the top there, turn left and follow the road about 500 yards, 500 metres. I'll be back when we get near the water supply. Okay, we're just in passing. We're just at the top of the road and 10, 20, 30 metres from the junction. But I just thought I'd show you. This is here's the runoff where that water from that channel crosses the little track and then comes down into the ravine. And here's the gully where the water runs off down and off towards the beach and the sea. So this is where the water goes when it leaves that road that I was showing you earlier. Okay guys, we're off to get the water now. Okay folks, that's one bottle done. Before I do the next, let me just have a word about what I mean by untrusted water and what the score is here. So this water isn't coming from the mains tap. I've no idea whether the camera can pick this up, but down through the floor here, under the floor is a big tank, and this is basically rain runoff and captured or recycled kind of water. So it's run through the streets, it's probably run through dog mess and dirt and, you know, all sorts of other detritus, whatever's lying in the street, and it's stored here. I've got no idea whether there's I assume there's filters there so that crap doesn't come out in lumps. But I know that this water has given me and the dog bad stomachs when used. So it has to be treated, has to be boiled or bleach added. Some kind of treatment is definitely needed. That's what I mean by untrusted. It'll give you bad guts. So yeah, basically it's just a big tank under the boards, captures water. Any spill that goes straight back down and straight back into the same tank. So if after people have washed their feet, if people have beach washed that, and there must be filters there to stop the sand coming back out. That probably just sinks straight to the bottom of the tank anyway. The outlet's probably a little bit off the bottom. Screens and filters to stop it coming out. But I've no idea whether they ever apply any kind of chlorine or bleach treatment. I assume not, because like I said, we've had bad guts, which means we have to spend a lot of time processing, boiling the water, or adding recent development for me, adding the bleach. I basically got tired of carrying wood, chopping wood, having fires surreptitiously to avoid the attention of any authorities, and the occasional visits from the police telling me that it's dangerous, etc. So yeah, that's that. Let me fill this and then we'll head off back to camp. Right folks, that's 16 litres of water in the bag. What's that, 35.5 pounds if my maths is about right, multiplied by 2.2. So basically, yeah, double and add 10%, isn't it? 16 goes to 32, add 3.2, yeah, 35.2, probably. No, 32.2, what am I talking about? Tina go. Let's make a move back. These carry bags, by the way, these shopping bags, Mercadona, they're the king of shopping bags. I use them for months at a time with hardly an issue. I think I've had 2 break on me in all that time, carrying that weight. 16 kilos is a lot to put in a shopping bag. And one of the ones that broke was because of rodents had been nibbling at the handles and a little bit of the stitching. I didn't realise until I was halfway home and the bag started to fray and fall apart. But hopefully we'll get home without incident this time. What do you say, Tina girl? You've been a good girl. Okay, folks. All right, we're back home. If this can be called home. Tina's heading off into a little hidey place under the bush. We've got the water here. 16 litres delivered safe and sound. No problems with the bag. And we're back in camp. I'll just put the water to one side, knowing that we've got it now. And whether I boil some tonight or use some of the bleach that we have, the liquor. It's just over 1 drop per litre, I think so. So I think it's 10 or 11 drops for the 8 litres. I don't measure it precisely. It equates to roughly half a cap on the little cap that we've got on the bleach. It doesn't matter if we go over. We put the bleach in, put the lid on the bottle, shake it up, give it half an hour to do its thing, and then take the lid off for an hour for it to off gas and let any chloriney, bleachy smell go away, and it's golden. I'll probably do that with one of them. The other bottle I'll just keep out for washing and just general purposes where it doesn't need any processing. And if we do later on need to do anything with the untreated water, we can just boil some. It doesn't take long. But that's what all the wood here is. For months, I got this stump out of a skip. That's been my chopping block. I've got some knives and a piece of rebar, and basically just take these pieces of wood and bat on them. I got a little saw as well. That's a recent development. Thank you, Anita, for the saw, and thank you, Eddie, for the knives. I mean, Christ, they're Mora knives, good, proper, expensive knives. And he gave me a whole bunch. I mean, I mistreated them badly. I mean, I've been using them to chop up gate posts and things rather than just bat on in delicate little twigs and branches. Yes, I've I mean, yeah, we at one point, let's just come up here. At one point, I had half a dozen pallets here, and the rebar I used to break down the pallets, and then the knives to bat on the lats across the top, but also those beefier, how do you describe them? Those main supports, the main beams that run down the length of the pallet. So yeah, that's processing, getting wood, bringing it back here, breaking it down, like smashing up pallets and things, and then processing it into small bits of firewood that can be put in the little into the little stove that I had here. It goes in there, and this is a second generation stove. The first one was much narrower and could only handle much smaller pieces. So there was a lot of work in chopping wood, processing wood, and we kind of had a drought in Spain, and a lot of this, what was kind of waist high grass, or higher, so it's chest high, a lot of this is now it's more like hay or straw. It's very dry, or it was until the recent rains. So I was getting a little bit of flack for having fires, but if you look how it's self-contained inside a little chimney, had it built up on three sides like this with metal all around, the pot on top. I made sure not to cause sparks and embers and things to fly around, and I would stand here with 16 or 24 litres of water around in case anything did happen, and I still got grief. So that's why it was fantastic when Damien brought me the camping gas stove and some gas, and then some extra gas. The first gas bottle, 450 gram gas bottle, lasted me only a week, maybe just over 8 days, maybe 9. But I did the big cook with the pan of stew that I cooked over here by the shelter that was on Monday, when the beginning of the what should have been 10 days of thunder and lightning according to the forecasts. That was a 3-day stew, and I cooked that for maybe an hour and a half, not realising those gas bottles, 450 grams I think it's meant to last about 4 hours of cook time. I got about that out of it. Mainly just boiling water for coffees and hot chocolates, but 1.5 hours for that stew that day. Now imagine how much wood I would have had to chop. I would have needed to spend about 2 hours processing wood, and I would have had to bring some more wood back to the camp to do that in the first place. But I think in future, what I will do when I do cook like that, I think I said this to Damien the other day. I would use the gas canister to bring things to an initial boil, get them up to heat, and then put them over the wood stove just to maintain that heat for the hour or so, hour and a half, maybe. The problem with the stove like this is that one bad piece of wood, if it turns out it's damp or it's just not a good type of wood, pallet wood's very very random. You can put a lump of wood in there that smokes instead of burning, and that smoke then stops the oxygen getting to the rest of the wood, and then you just got to sit here for half an hour with a smoker, with a big plume of black soot above your head and all around you, signalling to people, hey, look, there's a fire over here. And you got to burn that away and try and get some oxygen in there so that the other wood can take properly, which is why I have this little metal pipe, a little blow pipe for sticking in there and trying to blow and get proper oxygen flow and ignition. But there's I spend all day processing wood, squatting over that bench, chopping up wood with a knife and a piece of rebar, then putting little bits of wood into the pot here, then standing here blowing into it and trying to manage it and make sure it stays going. Then, because it's just a little kind of rocket stove or hobo stove, when they are burning well, the wood goes in no time. So you're constantly lifting your food or your water off the heat to put more wood in. They require a lot of attention, and it's a lot of squatting over and bending over, all day chopping the wood and then managing the fire, and back-breaking work. So a little gas stove that just gets things done quickly is really, really appreciated. I'm really aware of the price of that gas as well, though. Those canisters, best I can tell, I thought he was ripped off on them. He paid €8.50 for a 450 gram canister. with the screw fitting, the screw top. That, it appears, is a really good deal compared to what's available out there on Amazon. I was surprised at that. Now the same gas in a smaller canister with the push-on fitting rather than the screw fitting seems to be a lot cheaper, and there are adapters out there for I've seen them some as much as 20 euros, but some as little as 3 or 4 euros. So those might be worth investigating to get access to the cheaper canisters of gas, because those you get almost a kilogram of gas for under a tenner. So for an extra euro for over twice as much gas, just because of the packaging of the canister. I don't understand why. Maybe I'm just not finding the right deals on Amazon. Not that I can afford Amazon, not that I can afford any of this, but just looking around at what it's going to take to keep going, to keep going on. Because in the height of summer, I will definitely be restricted in what I can do with wood burning stove, wood burning fire. That there'll be prohibition orders and things once, if the drought kind of returns. I think I heard the other day that restrictions that were being considered have now been shelved until, was it September or October was the current, but that could change depending on how we go and how much rain they do or don't get, and how well they manage to capture it and keep it in the reservoirs. Anyway, I think that's enough rambling from me. Suffice to say, we've got water, we've got a little bit of bleach, we've got wood. We can boil the water if we have to. I've got I've got a place to burn on a wood stove. I've got gas enough to last, I don't know, 3, maybe I can stretch out to 4 weeks. The 2 canisters that I've got now. We'll see. I'll get this phone on charge now because we're under 10%. So I got to get this. I got to get this on charge and try and get it back above 50 or 60 to get me through the night and into tomorrow. Okay guys, that's it for now. Enough rambling. Okay guys, developments. The guys, Damien and Simon, that have been helping me, stopped by, and we fathomed the tent. As soon as we disregarded those instructions, as soon as we ignored those, we got the gist of it. That's up. I haven't secured it. What I'm going to do now, Tina, stop. What I'm going to do now, let's see whether we can give you an idea. What I'm going to do now is, we're not going to secure that. We're going to let that just stay. I'm going to empty out the the shelter as was. Move everything out of the way. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of crap stored in here. It's not crap. I'll move my stuff out, clear this space, and move the new tent into where the old shelter is currently, where it was, and then I'll secure it and tie it down and fasten the ropes and things. No point doing anything with it now beyond just having it put together as it is. So now the work begins. Get this emptied out. Okay guys, check back later. Okay folks, quick update. It's coming up on 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's the tent, still not in place. It's gathered, obviously it's not secured down, so it's gathered with the wind. Here's a bunch of bedding and and related stuff that's come out of there. Over here we've got 3 or 4 drawers that I've used as I had to cut some tops for each one. We had a rodent problem, so any food that I had laying around couldn't just be in like plastic bags and be just left out. So there's bits of pasta and stuff. There's one of those drawers has got some breakfast cereals, but of course I've never got milk or didn't have. I've now got some powdered milk, so I'll be able to dig into those. So yeah, there's food in the drawers. I had a shelf unit here that I had to cut a shelf off, and where's that at? There's an extra. There's a single shelf somewhere around here. Can't see it. I've lost my shit. Where is that? That's the damnedest thing. Huh. It's here somewhere. Let's have a look. Oh, over there, look. I can see it. I can see it at the back. Single shelf with what to the right of that other stuff. A set of drawers. Oh, I shouldn't have the gas out in the sun like that. Where are we going to put that? Find some shade. Find some shade. There we go. Basically, it's just taken me Christ knows how long just to empty all the shit out of there. I've got to deconstruct the bed, clear the space properly, fully, these bits and pieces, and I've got to move the tent across and anchor it down. So that's where we're at. I got no clue at the minute whether this bed will fit back inside the new tent. I suspect not. Certainly not as a structure with chairs and piles of bricks holding it up. The mattress may fit in the bedroom area. We'll have to see. And I've got decisions to make about whether I want to be on the ground or not, given that historically the field floods whenever it rains. Even though recently that isn't the case. So I've got choices to make. We'll see. Okay, that's it for now. Check back later. Okay folks, the tent is up, it's in place, it's secured. It's secured as best as it's going to be today probably. Let's have a, I don't know if you can hear the radio in the background there. Let's have a quick look. There's a front door, 2 windows. There's a side door, which is clearly what we're going to be using the most. There's an entrance, what do you call it? Hallway, vestibule, porch. I don't know. Call it what you want. This is where we'll store most of our things. And in here we got the bedroom, which at the minute I'm going to put the bed tonight on the floor, and I don't know. Then I've got to decide whether the bed stays on the floor or not. If I was to rebuild the same structure that I just had before, it wouldn't fit in that way round, that orientation, which is because the ground kind of slopes slightly. That's the kind of the natural orientation that I feel works best. If I was to build that again with the planks and the chairs, we'd need an extra, I don't know, 6 inches, which we can possibly, oh no, maybe not. So I don't know. Then I could look for a different mattress, slightly smaller, but or we could turn it sideways and try it. The bedroom is clearly longer, longer in widthways. Is that even a sensible sentence? It has more width than it has depth, so it would fit. I could build the bed structure the other way around, but that's just not the way that I feel I use the space. But I think I do want to be off the floor. I don't. If this place does flood, I'd like to be at least a couple of feet. That's what, 50-60 centimeters off the ground, kind of knee high or higher. Just for a bit of safety. But at the minute, I mean, there's room in here as well that we could use for storage. There's plenty of room, I think. Somehow, because, well, at the minute we will lose. Previously, I had storage under the bed. Clearly, as this is now, there's no scope for storing under the bed. So we might not fit everything back in here that we had in the previous shelter. And that's despite this having a slightly larger footprint overall, and certainly more headroom. I mean, the other one was intended to be 1.5 meters high, but I don't think it ever really made that. For the most part, it was about 1 meter high, so it was a real stoop to get in. This stands up higher. Possibly that will bring more attention from, well, just more attention, which is something I might not want overall. But yeah, I mean, it's standing, you know, it's almost 1 meter higher than the previous, which is great, as long as I don't get into trouble because of it. I don't know, but serious props to the guys who got me this, and for them helping me with the hints on how to set it up. Turns out the instructions in the bag were totally bogus. Yeah, I thought I must have just been misunderstanding something, but no. As soon as the guy said that the two of the poles had to cross each other, then I knew those had to be the same length. So those are the two bigger ones, and I knew then that the hoop at the front, the arch at the front, had to be the smaller pole. Whereas the instructions seem to indicate that the front and middle were the larger ones, and that they didn't cross. Anyway, enough gibbering. I've got, hopefully I've got a few hours before the weather changes to pack as much as possible back in here. So let me crack on with that, and then make a coffee, I think. Look at it all. I gotta get all of this. I gotta get all of this shit into there. So I hope it's a TARDIS. I hope it's bigger on the inside than it is on the out. Okay guys, enough rambling from me. I'll post an update later after I've packed everything in. Cheers now. Hey you, what you got there? Tina got a bone. Give the dog a bone. Eh? Don't say I never give you anything. Daddy loves his girl. Yeah. Here we go again, guys. Weather forecast now says no rain until 4 in the morning. In which case it'll be thunder, lightning and a downpour. The sun's kind of been smothered by the clouds. And over there looks, well, that looks quite threatening to me. I don't know how well it shows on the camera, but I'm not willing to bet on it holding off until 4 o'clock. So I'm going to throw what's left of my belongings that are out here. I'm just going to get them in the door, and I don't know, I can sort them out tomorrow, can't I? Just throw them in for now, in case it rains within the next hour or so. So that's it for now. Okay folks, it's about 7:15 in the evening. We're more or less done for the day. I've just made myself a coffee, moved and reorganised the cooking area and the beverage facilities. Everything's in the tent that's going in the tent tonight, more or less. Couple of last little pieces, but nothing that will take more than 30 seconds to pick up on the way in. Maybe we'll have let's have a quick look now. A lot less space than there was when it was first put up. It was lovely and roomy, and then I moved in. So just on the floor we've got bags of those are the clothes that I was climbing over to get into the shelter last night. Those are basically bags of clothes that I must keep dry. Those are there's the kind of my go bag and the brand new stuff that the guys brought me recently. So the hiking boots and socks and t-shirts and everything. Don't want to get those wet. A couple of rucksacks, food, bags of food, bags full of jars and tins, and here's the fresh food. And we've got potatoes, carrots and onions predominantly in there. They need using. They're gonna start turning if I don't get on with using those up. So that's something I'll have to work on in the next few days. I got my shelving units in. They're not really organised at the minute because I'm moving them in and out all day long. There's a single shelf with some storage boxes and just some other odds and ends thrown on top. And into the bedroom area. Oh, it's all falling apart already. Into the bedroom area. We got the bed. Double bed for me and my doggy darling. It was double because when it was off the ground, and remembering we're in a field that floods, so I was wanting, and still do want, to be up off the ground. I built a single bed originally, but the dog, she didn't like getting up and down and me getting in and out in the night and whatever on a single bed. She freaked out a bit, so we needed a bigger area, a bigger platform to be off the ground and if the floods do happen. And we'll need the same again this time. Storage and bedside stuff. Those are the drawers with the long-term storage, the dried food, and there's a drawer full of different types of flour, one with pastas and one full of breakfast cereals. Well, not full, but with breakfast cereals in. Here we've got a couple of bags, my possessions, and there's a sleeping bag, a survival can sleeping bag for emergencies. A couple of blankets for fingers in the way of the camera, sorry. A couple of blankets for you know, it's a new tent. I have no idea whether it's waterproof or not. What if water pisses in? So I've got couple of picnic blankets and what have you for waterproofing. Tina, there's a lot of banging out there. What you doing? Let me check. Darling. Damage and destruction everywhere you go. Fucking stop. Stop. Everywhere you go is destruction. This way. Fucking hell. I won't just set that up. Come on. You're interrupting. I was talking to the people. You had to get in on the action, didn't you? Anyway, just to say that, yeah, extra bedding basically, waterproofiness, and then some, there's a couple of mattresses from Sun Lounges and things, a couple of cushions and then some bags, more bags of clothing for if I need to get out of here in a rush. So that's the new tent. It's fantastic. I mean, just the fact that I don't have to stoop down below a meter to get in and out. It's tremendous. I can't thank those guys enough, Damien and Simon, for everything that they've done. The tent, the food, the cooking stove and the gas bottles, pans and the food and drink they keep bringing me. But it looks like the weather's gonna hold off. It's not as dark. It's brightened up from earlier, from when it clouded over. So yeah, maybe we'll be good. But I've got my coffee. I'm gonna sit down. Well, I'm gonna straighten up the coffee making area. Tina, I'm gonna straighten that mess up again, and then I'm gonna sit and have my coffee. Maybe there'll be an update later. Possibly not, if there's nothing much to report. I got a lot of clips today to string together to put out there. I don't know if it'll all be one video or if I'll keep the tent stuff or something else separate. We'll see. Okay guys, bye for now.